I just dropped these two strangers in the wilderness. They've never met, but now they have to survive together. Every day they make it, I'll give them $10,000. Grizz and Hasse introduce themselves, eager to win big. Dude, if we stay here, we're both multi-millionaires, Grizz said. They start gathering wood, realising they only have 5 days worth of food, 2 water containers, and a fire starter. They manage to build a fire and make beds out of pine needles. The next morning, I drop $10,000 from the plane in a parachuted briefcase. They catch it, exhilarated by the reward. I also give them a flare gun, shoot it, and the challenge ends. They keep what they've earned so far. The plan? Let's stay a year. $3.6 million is crazy. Realising they can't sleep on the cold ground anymore, they start building a shelter. Hasse gathers pine needles, while Grizz finds an old metal piece for the roof. Using parachutes and cords, they create a rain cover, bracing for colder nights. This money means college for my kids, Hasse says. The food supply is running low, and they're searching for water. They discover a swamp, but it's risky to drink from, full of bacteria. Grizz says they can boil it. If it rains, we probably have to go to the hospital, but I'll do it for $10,000. These jokes. They are hungry. Supplies are gone. Grizz calls it fasting, but it feels like starving, Hasse remarks. They try eating greenbrier leaves, but it's not enough. They've survived 10 days, earning $100,000. I surprise them with more supplies. Food, spices, tarps, and fishing gear for $50,000 of their prize. That food cost as much as my kids' college tuition, Hasse says, laughing. They agree to the deal, grateful for the much-needed food. Though the food will last 10 more days, they'll need to find more in the wild. Why haven't we caught fish? Grizz complains. The swamp nearby has no fish, but then something amazing happens. They discover a creek. This is not a swamp, it's moving water. We can fish here. Their adventure is far from over. Grizz and Hasse have found a creek with fish. Dude, look at this. It's like a dock. This is perfect for food and shelter. They were excited to have a new water source. And after a surprise rainstorm, they decided to move and upgrade their shelter. They worked on gathering trees to build an A-frame structure, despite a small mishap where Hasse tripped and fell on Grizz. They spent the entire next day finishing their new shelter and even built a fishing dock. After surviving more freezing nights, I arrived with their next $10,000 and a new offer. They could spend $10,000 on one sleeping bag, or $50,000 on 2. Though the forecast predicted cold weather, they decided to tough it out without sleeping bags, choosing to save the money. Their routine consisted of boiling water, working on the shelter, and trying to catch fish, but their fishing attempts weren't very successful. After days of frustration, they finally caught their first fish, a strange eel. "It's American-style unagi," they joked, grilling it over charcoal. It was the first fresh meal they had had in 27 days, and they savoured it despite its odd taste. They began building a raised bed system for their shelter, complete with pine needle mattresses made out of parachutes. "We should have made bunk beds. That's a missed opportunity," Grizz joked. Their new setup was comfortable, but their reliance on the creek for food became a problem. They couldn't catch another eel. At this point, Grizz mentioned how much time he had been away from his newborn 2-year-old, saying it was difficult to explain to them why he had to be gone so long. Despite their progress in the wilderness, their food situation was dire. When I visited again, I rewarded them for surviving an entire month with a store full of items they had asked for during their vlogs: firewood, a shovel, cooking supplies, bedding, and even books and board games. Hasse and Grizz were presented with their very own wilderness dollar store, where everything cost $10,000. They checked out some mosquito nets, hammocks, and even firewood, but turned it all down. "We can make almost everything out of parachutes," Grizz said, jokingly dismissing the store's offerings. Despite making $10,000 a day, they still didn't buy anything, leaving me stunned. "Next time, I'll convince you to spend money," I said before departing. Meanwhile, I had a surprise for my viewers. I'd bought 1,000 Samsung Galaxy S24s to give away to random subscribers, each phone worth over $1 million in total giveaways. Back in the wilderness, Hasse and Grizz struggled to catch any fish, and their food supplies were running dangerously low. We maybe have 2 days worth of food left, Hayes remarked. Desperate, Hayes decided to travel through the swamp to reach a nearby river, hoping for better fishing. After a grueling journey, Hayes finally found the river and was overjoyed. "This is going to turn things around," he exclaimed. However, his makeshift fishing pole immediately broke, and he had to use his hands to catch fish. After hours of failure, Hayes finally caught a big one, bringing it back to Grizz with excitement. "We're eating tonight," he shouted as they enjoyed their first real meal in days. "On asterisk asterisk day 40 asterisk asterisk, I returned with a special offer. For $10,000, Hayes and Grizz could each see their wives. Their families were watching live, and after some hesitation, they both agreed. It was an emotional reunion. "It's me, it's Daddy," Hayes said to his family, though the visit brought mixed feelings. "How long do you want us to stay?" Hayes asked. His wife's response tugged at his heartstrings. "I want you home now. You've made enough money." Hayes struggled with the decision but decided to stay, setting his sights on earning $1 million. After the visit, both Hayes and Grizz felt happier and more motivated than ever. They smoked their fish and made the best of their situation. Even as they approached the $400,000 mark, they remained in high spirits, ready to push forward. By now, they didn't even seem to mind the hardships. "It looks like someone had a gender reveal, and the gender was just money," Grizz joked. Despite their high spirits, they had one big problem to solve: getting to the river to fish without trudging through the swamp. "I'm building a boat," Hayes announced, constructing a frame with sticks and attaching a tarp. "I'm not super confident, but if it keeps us from tromping through the swamp, it's worth it." As they were about to test the boat, I arrived with a surprise. "Wait, are you serious? You built a boat?" I asked, amazed by their ingenuity. Their boat actually worked. Ironically, I'd come to offer them a real boat, with a Zaxby's restaurant included. $50,000, you can have this boat, I said, but they hesitated. "We don't have a motor," Grizz pointed out. Seeing their reluctance, they offered a discount, $40,000 for the boat. After a moment, Grizz passed on the offer saying, "I'll get Hayes' death trap instead." With that, they saved $40,000 and stuck with their handmade boat. "It's still a death trap," Hayes admitted, but they were confident. Spring was now in full bloom, and they seemed more comfortable. "Man, remember how cold it was when we started?" Hayes reminisced as they enjoyed the warmer weather. But warmer weather brought new problems, like snakes and rats. "Every night there's a rat," Grizz complained. The lack of sleep and constant annoyances started to wear on them, and soon their patience with each other began to fray. "Can you check the lines while you're over there?" Grizz asked. Hayes, clearly irritated, snapped back. "You shut your mouth when you're talking to me." The tension boiled over as the close friends began to argue. Grizz apologised, but the damage was done. Hayes, needing space, paddled down the river and set up camp alone for the night. "I think Hayes has run away," Grizz said, worried. "If he's not back in a couple of days, I'll have to go looking for him." To cheer him up, Grizz repurposed a large boar left from a previous beast drop to build a sturdy table. When Hayes returned, he brought back a sea trout. "I'm wiped out," he admitted. Then, noticing the table, he exclaimed, "This is a $100,000 table, Grizz." The gesture lifted his spirits, and the two friends reconciled. With their survival needs met and their friendship restored, the duo was ready for whatever came next. After 70 days in the wilderness, Hayes was ready to quit, but felt pressure from Grizz to stay longer. They agreed to discuss it on day 70, but Hayes' longing for family grew stronger. On the final day, Hussey admitted he was done and wanted to return home. Grizz, initially reluctant, understood and apologised for pushing him. They shared an emotional moment, acknowledging their newfound brotherhood. Together they shot the flare, ending their journey with $670,000. After 74 days, they were reunited with their families, celebrating their win. And don't forget to subscribe for a chance to win a Samsung phone.